Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie.
Join us for unbuttoned and unedited conversations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie. And we're excited to welcome back Joshua Shultz. Welcome back, Josh.
Hi.
Hey, it's good to have you here. It's been a while since we've talked. You were here last time for your short film Americana. So can you give us any updates on that? How did it do in the film festivals and all that?
Sure, yeah. So Americana won top film at 4 film festivals.
Nice.
And, we did a big premiere in Texas, and it played around the world. And then a full movie script has been written.
Ooh.
And I signed on some big names to the project, and so that's sort of happening in the background.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and it was received really well, and we ironically got like a big fan base for that film in one town in Texas.
Okay.
So, which is ironically where we decided to shoot the next film.
Oh, so fun. So you have new short film that you're getting ready to premiere, Ride or Die. Is that where you shot that film?
Yeah, so when I was deciding to do Ride or Die, I wanted to shoot in this town in Texas, a place called Victoria, Texas, because they were so supportive and excited for supporting art, and they love the idea of like movie shooting there. And to me, I'd never heard of the town before, but I went. It was so beautiful, and there's so much sort of rich history there. And it's only 2 hours south of Austin. And a friend of mine named Carissa Winters has a film festival there. And so that's kind of how I found out about it. And so I called her and told her the idea, and she went, and the city got behind it and gave us free permits. The police chief came out, and they donated a cop car and a police officer for the film and shut down the city streets. And
Wow.
the ironic thing that wasn't planned was when I wrote the film, it was sort of like loosely inspired by Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
And we got this diner that we shot the diner scene in, and it's the oldest deli in America. I think it was from 1850s or something. And so when I went to go check out the location, they said, hey, Bonnie and Clyde used to eat lunch here.
No way.
Well, perfect.
And I was like, what are the chances? So we have this, a lot of the film takes place in the diner. There's this crazy robbery scene. And we're shooting it where Bonnie and Clyde used to eat lunch in South Texas. And anyway, it was cool. The first day we were shooting, the mayor came out, and locals, and you got cowboys and oil people and local artists, and we had a lot of locals volunteer work on the film, and some of them are in the film. Like there's this woman who runs a Harley Davidson shop, and so her old mom came out and played the old lady in the beginning of the film, and it was really beautiful. And but anyway, yeah, so Ride or Die was sort of inspired randomly. I was in LA for 2 weeks, and I was doing 2-3 photo shoots a day every day. It was crazy schedule, shooting music videos. And there was this model that came over to shoot with me named Emma. And she had a bigger following, I think 1.2 million followers. And pretty model, so I didn't really correctly peg who she was. And anyway, when she showed up, she turned out to be super down to earth, really sweet person. Loved classic rock. We just had both found a commonality that we both love movies passionately. And we went for a motorcycle ride up in the mountains, and she took out her phone and just recorded herself really enjoying and having this moment on the motorcycle. And then we did our photo shoot, And then when we were done, she showed me the clip. And just by watching that clip and then her personality, and I was at the time like really just inspired to make a film, this idea popped into my head. And right on set, I pitched it to her. And she said, like, she was so enthusiastic, yes, we have to do it. That night, I wrote the script, I emailed it to her.
Wait,
And
in
then,
one night you wrote the script?
yes. Because sometimes, like, it takes me a year to write a script, and
Yeah.
sometimes
You were inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sent her the script, and she loved it so much that she said she was going to help finance the short film.
Okay.
So she put a bunch of the money in, and then teamed up with me, and we like refined the characters in the script and rehearsed. And then I called the people in Victoria, Texas, and they started location scouting. And then I made a fundraiser online, and some of the beautiful Hallmark fans pitched in and then helped raise money to make the film. Although even with the amount of money we raised, it was like, stretching one penny.
Of course, right.
Is far. And so the city stepped in and like donated food. Pepsi donated water. Restaurants donated like catering. And anyway, and then we were lucky that we got some celebrities attached. So there's a guy named Tim Murphy. I knew him from Sons of Anarchy. He was like the main bad guy. And then he was in National Treasure 2. And he's been in like everything. He's an amazing actor. And it was always my dream to work with him. And he's got a very heavy Irish accent. So I called him and he was like, I'm in. And he would send me reportings of his Texas accent, as in character. And anyway, we had people fly out from Denver, New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, LA, Tampa, or I drove. I got there like 6 weeks early and prepped, and then everyone showed up, and we shot for 4 days. We shot this entire, basically, TV show pilot in 4 days.
Okay.
So no sleep.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah. All right. So let's back up for a second. So you get inspired. You write this script in one night. What is the script about? So what is Ride or Die about? We know there's a robbery and police cars and an old lady. Tell us more.
Basically, without giving too much away, the main lead is this girl named Emma. Her character's name is Daisy. She's in a really bad situation, and she's heard about my character, and she's seeking me out. But when she shows up, she pretends like she doesn't know me. And so her character is kind of a liar and a manipulator. And my character is like, believes in truth, but like truth that's like too much truth. So both people are taking things too far in a detrimental way to themselves.
Okay.
And through a bunch of crazy circumstances, they have this experience together where they kind of have their character arcs, but they both subconsciously are very lonely and seek connection. And so it's sort of a film about connection, but in like a crazy situation. So two lost souls find each other, and then through this like crazy adventure, unexpectedly find connection. And so they become each other's ride or die.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that. So you said something about TV pilot. You essentially filmed the pilot. Is that what you hope, that this will become a series?
Well, right now I have an idea for a whole movie.
Okay.
But it also could be a TV show. But I'm sort of weird that I don't like making traditional short films because I was told when I would make short films, like, these are all the things that you have to do for film festivals so you can get into film festivals. But I don't like that idea. I like the idea of making something that would entertain an audience. Like, the only thing I care about is the audience. And what sort of film would I want if I was an audience member watching this? And I basically came up with the idea that I want it to sort of be like the pilot of a TV show where you introduce the characters and
Yeah.
the world, you create a little bit of mystery, you get sucked into this adventure, and then you leave the audience wanting more. And so that's how I wrote the script. And also, instead of getting like super deep and artsy where nobody knows what's happening, I want to sort of ride it with the idea of entertaining the audience.
Mhm.
And anyway, yeah, I mean, I liked it. I got to do a bunch of motorcycle stunts. I get to kill people with a gun. And I had to direct it, act, and do stunts.
Yeah.
It was 110 degrees, and my costume was like jeans, jacket, boots.
Stuck to you?
Yeah. So every night I would get back to the hotel and I would be drenched in sweat, and I would have to wash my entire wardrobe, and the next morning put it back on, and then just slowly fill it with sweat. And I remember the fourth day there was someone took a behind the scenes photo of me. We were in a hotel room, but the hotel room didn't have any AC, and it was a really gross hotel room, and it was like 120. So we were basically in a sauna for like 8 hours, and at this point I hadn't really slept in like a week. And so I walked outside because I thought I was gonna pass out. So I sat down and I like put my head in my hands, and instead of this guy helping me, he took pictures of me. And then he sent me the photos. They're great photos.
But
And he shot them on film, which I appreciate.
oh yeah.
The
But
photos,
maybe not a good memory.
yeah, you could tell from the photo just the amount of like pain. I don't know. I guess as an artist, he's great because he captured like the pain and dedication it takes to make art.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you do what you got to do to get through the things that you're doing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you balance starring in this, directing it, and everything else you have to do? So how, like, when you're on set for those 4 days, how are you balancing all the many roles that you're playing to get this made?
Well, I find that when I make short films, 90% of my job is producing, which is funny because that's what I dislike the most. But then when it comes time to film it, the big lesson I learned on this film, separate from Americana, is I hired really competent team members who forcefully took hats away from me and wore them well, so that I had more mental capacity to be a director and to act. And that helped me dramatically raise the quality. And so the next film, I would do that even more, where I can really have those competent people take those hats, because there's only so much you can do in a day. And a movie takes a village, and in this case, literally a small town came and made this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, is like delegation, building a really competent team, and then also preparation. I mean, I did weeks and weeks of prep for the film, plus I wrote it, so I knew every line, everything about it. So in a scene, if I had to make a change, I knew the characters so well that I would know how they would act and how changes would fit into the overall story. Like, I remember we were shooting the diner scene, and we were way behind schedule. And the police chief is outside with the police force waiting for me. They've been waiting for me for 2 hours. And the assistant director is coming up to me, and he's trying to help me wrap the scene, but then we have to move location on a motorcycle, rig a truck with a camera, and do motorcycle chase stunt scene before the sun goes down. And he's freaking out. And then there was a city festival happening, so they took the streets we were going to shoot on. So when he came out freaking out, because I had done so much prep in my head, I was like, cool, tell the police chief to go 2 blocks this way, 2 blocks this way, and wait for us there. and then we will do this scene and wrap, and then we'll go over there, and then I'll have the colorists take the post sunset where it's still blue and color match it to daylight so it looks like daytime. And he was like, okay, great. And then they left. I wrapped the scene, hopped on the motorcycle, went over. We did the police chase scene right after sunset when it was blue. I sent the files to the colorist, who then made it look like daytime. And we had the film.
Awesome.
Instead of losing that.
Yeah, I can see the importance of really, all that prep you did, and really just being able to pivot in a second. Yeah.
So from conception, from that night when you wrote the entire movie, until you started filming, how long was that?
I think I wrote it in July. Then we shot, or I went to Texas in August. We shot October 4th.
Okay, so we'll move along quickly.
And now it's March, and we're still wrapping the sound and the color on the film. So hopefully in the next couple of days, it'll officially be done.
Okay.
But we've already submitted unfinished version to a few film festivals, and we've already won top film at 3 film festivals.
Okay, that's insane.
Okay.
So it's a really good film.
I guess so.
Wow.
With proper sound and color, it'll be even better.
So you've put it into some film festivals, but what are you going to do once it's finished? Like, how are you putting it out there for the world to see?
Well, we're going to do a special premiere in Austin in a couple of weeks at Soho House, Austin. And then here in Florida, in St. Petersburg, a big film festival called the Sunscreen Film Festival requested it. So I'm going to have a big screening there, and a bunch of local celebrities and friends I know are going to come to that.
Okay, fine.
And then I'll just keep setting out to film festivals around the world while I start prepping for my first movie.
So your first movie.
First feature film, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So hour-and-a-half long feature.
So
okay.
Tell us a little bit about, can you tell us a little bit about that?
The only thing I can tell you is we already had the celebrities attached, and I'm also in it. And it's a horror film.
Wait, that is a change of pace for you, right?
Yes.
That's
the thing. The thing I like about horror films is it's funny because I'm very picky about horror films. Most horror films I think are kind of dumb, but when it's done well, mainly meaning it has a really great story.
Yeah.
Then they're great. And the thing I like about horror films is it's one of the unique genres where you have to really understand what all the rules are. Where like drama and action, you can be more free, but like horror film there's so many little tricks that you have to learn to do it well. And so for me, it'll be fun doing that. And then I'm picking a subject that I used to be terrified of as a child. So I pitched it to the celebrities, and they were like 1,000% in. And so when I go to Texas in 2 weeks for the Soho House thing, I'm also directing a music video, and then I'm going to go location scout for the movie.
Okay.
And I'm still writing that movie. So,
okay, so that'll be another one that you're writing, you'll direct, and then you'll act in.
Yeah, but this one I won't star in.
Yes.
Okay.
The 2 celebrities are the star. I'm like the third, and then I'm not in it for the whole movie. I'm just in it for part of the movie, so that I can really pay attention to the directing and all the shots. Because the thing, I don't know if everyone feels this way, but as a director, your first movie is like the most important. It's like what people really judge you off of. So it has to be incredible.
How did you learn all these rules? Like, how do you prepare for, to step into the world of a horror film?
For horror film, I watched a lot. Did a lot of research, kind of wrote down like things I liked. Watched a lot of interviews. It sort of sucks that I've never really been able to go on set and watch other directors, but maybe that's also a good thing, because it could mean that I'm more true to myself and I haven't developed habits of somebody else. Um, but ironically, all of the directing I've done in the past and all the photography I've done in the past, I've learned just like overall lessons about art. For example, to me, the difference between good art and cheesy art is art is a magic trick. And if you can convey the art in a way that feels truthful or authentic and it resonates, then it's powerful.
Mhm.
But if people can sort of see the magic trick and they don't resonate, it feels forced or like a lie, then it doesn't resonate with them. It feels bad. And so with this film, I really have worked hard to write a lot of things that are very true to me and true to the two celebrities I signed on. I've spent a lot of time with them, and so there's a lot of them in it, and kind of making the story in a way that feels very authentic and real, so that hopefully people will resonate with it on like a human level.
Hmm.
And then all the stuff in the past too just teaches me of like, okay, this is how you structure a crew, and this is what kind of cameras, and this is how you run a day, and how you edit, and ironically, a lot of directing, uh, writing, directing, and editing films is like the greatest film school you can have as a director, because when you have to edit the project, it forces you to see all of your mistakes and learn from them, and you see your strengths. And um, so a lot of this, I mean, if you think about it, it's only my second short film ever.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of things I've learned is really, when you go into it, you're told all these, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. And then through actually doing it, you realize, oh, that's not true. This is actually what you should do, and this works. And really learning to get out of your own way and listen to your own intuition. But also, I've just been obsessed with film since I was a little kid. So there's probably a lot of things I learned over the years somehow, but I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you where I learned it.
Like subconsciously picked up.
Right.
Yeah.
So you filmed your short Ride or Die in 4 days, which just seems insane to me. How long will you be filming your feature film?
Right now, we're guessing 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I'm still writing it, and then we have to plan it, and then I have to schedule the other two people. The other two people are married, and they both have big careers, so it's like figuring out when we can all be in the same place.
Right.
And then, ironically, the camera guy I want to use, he just had a baby last week, so making sure that the baby is in a good place before he can leave for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of life managing,
Yep.
and it's an ultra low budget indie film, so we might still have to do like a fundraiser. We've gotten a couple of possible locations for free, and some really great cast and crew. But it's going to be an indie, low budget film, so it'll be fun. But in a weird way, I kind of prefer that, because it's sort of this like in the trenches with the troops, figuring it out, laughing, fun. You really bond, and then maybe my next project will be a big budget thing, and then that just feels more corporate and structured, and
Right.
you
A
gotta
lot
be
less,
this
maybe a lot less freedom.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like we got to watch the dailies and blah blah blah. I'm a big fan of like having a bunch of really great people come together and work their butts off doing stuff they love.
Yeah. And it seems like you're creating magic that way. So
You're
yeah.
only as good as your team. So if you have
Yeah.
a team of people that are obsessed about filmmaking like you are, then you're gonna get people that truly care and do a great job. And I mean, our casting crew is amazing. Like the composer just sent me the music a couple days ago, and he's won 2 Emmys, and I've always wanted to work with him. And when he sent me the music, I was like, I can't believe that this person made this thing.
Okay, so this is for Ride or Die. So who is the composer?
His name is Ollie Helmwine.
Okay.
He did like a bunch of these short films with like Ryan Gosling and Brad Pitt and all this stuff, and won a bunch of Emmys for that. But now he does like a bunch of big movies on Netflix. Like I think he even just did the score for the Jake Paul documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
Did all the music for that. He plays the violin. He like works with big orchestras, and so he wrote me a really unique score, which was amazing. Because the Americana, I had like a general idea, but this one, Ride or Die, was a lot harder because I was very specific. This is what I need in this second. This is what I need in this scene, and he went and he did better than I imagined. And then right now the sound is being done. So on sound, there's like first, you clean up the audio and you make everything sound good. But there's a thing called sound design where, you can add like a train passing or birds or crickets, but you can add different noises to create anxiety, happiness. It's called sound design. So right now the artistic sound design is being done, and the guy who is doing it has won 7 Grammys. And his name is Buck Snow. And then our colorist who does all the color for it, he works at Disney. So he's doing the movie trailers for Disney during the day, and then at night doing the color for Ride or Die.
Nice.
Wow, you really have a great team.
Right.
Yeah, but they've also like I've known the composer, the sound guy, and the colorist for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But that's great to have strong people around you like that.
Mhm.
So how long will it take to do all the post-production?
On the Ride or Die?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. October. I think I started in September. So September, November, December, January, February. 5 months.
Yeah, really, honestly, though, that
For a 21-minute film.
Right. 4 days of shooting, and then it takes you five months.
And like 2 months of prep before we even started
Yeah.
shooting.
right.
But again, it was a film school, so the next project, like I feel like Americana was here, this is here, and the next film will be even higher. Like I always try to greatly increase the quality of each film.
So, okay, speaking of Americana, you had, there was a pretty big, deep message that went along with that film. What would you say Ride or Die, what's the message for Ride or Die? Or what would you like people to take away from that when they're watching it?
Well, the important message, I think, is that we should really find connection. Right now there's a lot of division and separation. And, if you ignore the news and you actually go out into the real world, the majority of people I meet are very loving, lovely people and want to get along and be kind. And I know that algorithms online make it seem like we're all hating each other and fighting, but like, one of the big lessons I learned when I almost died really puts your priorities in perspective, is that, art and stuff is my passion and what I love to do. But in terms of like value, love and family is like the most valuable thing you can have. And this is obviously a crazy, fun adventure where these two people are going through a crazy thing, but they find connection. And so I think the message for this is like connecting with somebody is really important.
Yeah.
And love is very important. And we should seek that out and nurture that. And like, I know it's cheesy, but like love is all you need, when you're on your deathbed and you're looking at the world, you're not worrying about bills or who won the Oscar or what politician is right. You just care about the people that love you and the people that you love. And everything else is kind of noise.
Right.
So with this, ironically, a lesson I learned from the Hallmark fans is the Hallmark fans were some of the most loving, passionate, hope-filled people I ever met, and so it seems like a lot of them already know that. But like for other people, um, love each other and spread happiness and kindness and cultivate connections. And uh, while filming this, I met people with all different types of opinions. And as an artist and a director, I love different points of views and different opinions. I think it's beautiful, and so I welcome all of it.
Yeah.
And then I just find something that I love about that person, and you'd be surprised how beautiful the world is and how beautiful people are if you look through a filter of love.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree. Go ahead, Julie.
bringing that to screen, back to your Ride or Die when you were talking about your two lead characters and how they don't start out maybe in the same place, and it's really connections that brings them together. Are we going to feel like we want to go with them on some additional, space? Like we'll want to see more happen with these two?
I hope so. I mean, that's really up to the audience to decide, but I definitely um, get excited about their next adventure because, in a lot of ways, this film's a setup, and then
Yeah.
Right.
then maybe you get curious about seeing the journey. And even like, this is my favorite villain I've ever written.
Okay.
So when I make the movie, I really want to explore that character and all of the characters because they're all so unique and interesting. Um, but like there's certain amount of fans that'll watch this that donated, and they're gonna get to see the film probably in the next couple of weeks.
Fun.
They'll get an early screening, and then after it goes out to film festivals, we'll release it on YouTube for everybody else. But the trailer has already gotten over 100,000 views.
Right.
Yeah.
Americana to this date, I think, has only had 22,000 views. And
Really?
this got 22,000 views in like the first day.
That's amazing.
So it seems like we're going like this, and we want to keep going up.
Good for you. Okay, so in Americana, we did get to see, speaking of Hallmark, we got to see one of our favorite Hallmark actors make an appearance. Will we get any fun guest appearances in Ride or Die?
No Hallmark and Ride or Die because they were very busy making Hallmark movies. But a lot of love and support from them. We do have we have me in there. We have Rainine Pedro is returning in it. She was in Americana. She started Americana.
Yeah.
I like to work with the same people. Emma Kotos plays the female lead. Timothy Murphy plays the villain. And then Kiana Kay, who was in Americana, is also in this. And there's a guy named Patrick who is in Americana that's in this. So we had a certain amount of Americana family come and do this.
It says something for you too that they enjoyed working with you and they came back.
Yeah, I mean, we're a family, and a bunch of those guys are gonna come out and be on my first movie.
That's great.
Yeah, well, it's fun to make those connections, and then we hear about this in the industry all the time, where they'll be like, "I use my same crew all the time," or "I use the same people." Like you know how the work is going to go, and it's fun to hear you say the same thing.
Well, I think the secret to success is like you're only as great as your team, and it takes a long time to find a good team. So once you find them, it'd be terrifying to work with somebody new because you could have someone on set who is a bad apple and causing drama and sabotaging and not doing their job. And like my camera guy is just as obsessed with movies as me. We call each other and we're like two kids, excited about movies. The guy who's starring in my next movie, we spend hours and hours talking about horror films and breaking them down. And he already has a following in the horror film world. And, I love people like that. It's like you are kids who get to go and make art. It's just the one thing that I wasn't expecting is making art and films is whatever you think is the hardest day you can ever imagine, times that by 1,000.
Right.
Even as I'm wrapping this film, I'm like, how is this still going on? I have not had a life in 5 months, and I'm still working on sound and color.
Mhm.
And then once that's done, I still gotta send it out to film festivals, and then travel to film festivals, and then speak and do press and promote it. And it's like it's as much as people get paid for movies, I still think they're criminally underpaid
Right.
because you make a lot more money working at a car wash. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, unless you're the like top 1% who get 20 million for a movie, which would be nice.
Are you saying that's not you right now? Soon, but soon.
Soon, one day.
This-
Speaking of that, Josh, how can people donate if they wanted to still contribute to, your project or your future
Future
project?
project.
Well, if you want to contribute to this, we need money for film festivals. But I would say more importantly, we're going to do a fundraiser for my movie.
Okay.
And I'll launch an Indiegogo, and people can, there'll be special perks and stuff. Like, in fact, tomorrow I'm sending out the last movie poster for the person who donated to this. So for the next one, there'll be special perks for the movie. But that's where we need a lot of help. Is it's a full movie, so it's not a short film, so it's going to take a lot more. So any help that you guys can have promoting, that would help us because it's a small crew.
Yeah.
And we have to build monster costumes and do stunts
Fun.
and all kinds of crazy stuff. And so that's a good point. I will make an Indiegogo and share it and launch it, and then anybody that can help.
Yeah, we'll definitely share that for you.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we can share that too. So once you have that up and running for that, we'd love to support that.
That'd be amazing because that's how we got the last film done and Americana.
Right.
So, I was thinking about, how this town really embraced you and kind of took you in and let you use their town, and not just let you, but like wanted you to be there and were helping you and walking along beside you. So what was it like kind of feel, when a community took you in that way and just really supported you?
It was really exciting, and it makes you realize like how dumb LA can be, because in LA it's like a little bit more snooty, but here it was this celebration and excitement to make art. And I was like, that's
Mhm.
how it should be everywhere, like I think art and storytelling is such a beautiful thing. And I mean, we're not brain surgeons, it's not serious. Like, we weren't on set like, bro, we're so important. It was more like we're playing and we were going to work really hard to do a good job, but we're very aware that we are kids in the sandbox playing. I remember when I had to like put somebody in a headlock and shoot him and shoot a bunch of bad guys. After every time I killed everybody, we'd all laugh, because it was
Yeah.
like
But
we
it's
had
fun
like
to like do the work, right?
exactly. I remember in that scene, one of the guys I had to kill was this cop. He'd been a cop for 30 years and seen all kinds of stuff, and just watching him getting to like play make believe and act in a film and have the biggest smile on his face. It was so cool. And anyway, so I love that town, and they're very important to me. So I really acknowledge them in the credits, and I'm gonna send the film, or we're gonna do a special screening there to really acknowledge everybody. But I have this point of view that like there's nothing special about me or some celebrity. It's just somebody went out and did the work. And so I tell these people in this town, I was like, if you want to be a big artist, you could do it. You just have to go do it. Like,
Right.
you don't need permission from somebody. You don't need to be born somewhere, or be
Yeah.
family members with somebody. You just go learn how to do it, do a really good job, keep doing a really good job, and that will take you really far. And that's all I did. I just started making art. Um, I When I started making art, I was so poor I couldn't afford a camera. Um, and Tyler had just bought a camera and he let me borrow it, which I then stole for an entire year.
As a good friend does. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then my career started to take off, and then uh, ironically, I still never have bought a camera. I got sponsored by Canon, and I bought a bunch of film cameras, but I don't own a digital camera. Um, but I've seen other people, like I've told them that, and they went out and started taking photos and making art and like going on YouTube and really studying and putting in the work and learning, and then their careers took off. So with this town, I'm kind of hoping I can turn it into a movie shooting location,
Yeah.
and these individuals can get out and do their own art. So yeah.
So with these movies, you've been writing the scripts for them. Did you have you always kind of been a writer, or how did you did you write out of necessity, or how'd you get there?
Oh my God, I read out of necessity. When I first got into filmmaking and I wanted to make Americana,
Yeah.
I kept meeting. I was like, well, I don't know how to write, so let me go find a good writer. And I would meet
Yeah.
someone and they're like, oh, I'm the best writer. And then they would write a script and send it to me and be like, this is
No.
terrible. And by the eighth writer and thousands of dollars later, I was like, I'm just going to learn how to write. As a director, I should really know how to write and know how scenes put together and structure. And so on Ride or Die, instead of going out to another scriptwriter, I was like, you know what? I'll just write this. And
In
I did.
one night.
And
In one night, yeah.
and then I sent it to a friend of mine who's like sells scripts to movie studios. He's very good. He gave me some notes and I changed. And same thing with this movie. I'm gonna write a detailed script and then I'll take it to a professional and they can help me, iron things out and then go make it. But I know that I know story really well, but script writing I'm not like the greatest script writer in the world. But I know how to put really good ideas down and then hopefully, I mean, in a perfect world, I would just know an incredible script writer and I could just hire them and give them my idea and they can give me a great script. But that seems like as likely as winning the lottery. So out of necessity, I've been learning.
So you talked about learning, but what did you do to kind of learn how to write it on a paper and put together a script, even though it wasn't, we know you're going to go and have somebody look it over for you and help you refine it. But how did you even get to the point? What did you do to get there?
I read a couple books, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and then just started writing out some scenes. And then I asked my buddy who writes big movies and TV shows, and he sent me his writing course. So I read that. And then I wrote again. And I'm sure, I'm not the greatest script writer. So on this next one, like I said, this is my film school. So I will learn how to write a feature while writing a feature. But I have also found that, some of the best learning for me is, doing it. The first project I ever did was I lied to a director and I told them I was a really great producer.
Yeah.
And so my first job was producing a music video for Incubus. And I learned how to produce while on set, producing a music video for Incubus. And when he would say, hey, I need blah, blah, and I'd be like, I got you. And then I would Google, what does that mean? And then I would ask around and I'd get him the best of that thing. And it was as long as there's that saying, it's not fake it till you make it. It's always deliver.
Right.
So if you say you're going to do something, do it better than anybody else. And then you will go far.
Okay. What song was this?
It's a song called Last Night a Passenger.
Okay.
So Brandon Boyd did a solo album. So in the music video, we had 3 dancers underwater dancing with masks on. And we had to have a camera underwater and a speaker underwater so they can hear the music and sing. And I, being the producer I am, even though I'd never produced, they were going to go to Fox Studios, which wanted $20,000. So I called my old high school in Pasadena because we played water polo and there was an underwater viewing area. And so I got us the whole location for $300. And,
there There you go. Producer of the year.
Exactly. We shot the whole music video at my old high school.
That's spectacular.
And then we shot in the parking lot. And I was so green that when the lead singer, Brandon, showed up, I didn't know what he looked like. So he shows up and I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, I'm the lead singer.
I
And,
love that though. That's like, that's real. That's real life. You're jumping in, you're doing it.
oh, he was so nice. And we were shooting all night. In the middle of the night, he saw that I was tired. So he went and got coffee and brought me coffee.
Oh.
And like really checked in on me. And the music video turned out beautiful. This was like, I don't know, 2012 or 2011. And then a week after that, that director asked me to go shoot a documentary in Big Sur, California, with a band called Band of Horses and the Beach Boys. So the first time I ever used a camera and took photos was in the Beach Boys studio with the Beach Boys and Band of Horses. And then I sort of started my career, and then I started kind of going from there. And ironically, Tyler was on that trip with me.
Okay. Well,
So it
there
was
you go.
Tyler and I filming.
I think that
long before Hallmark.
yeah,
Right.
I think that the Heinies are waiting for you and Tyler to do a project together. I mean, we saw your book you came out with, but I think they'll be excited if you come out with a film.
I would love that. One day I'll be able to afford Tyler.
Right. Feature film, let's go. We'll all be there.
Yeah. I think when the time is right, probably. Although Tyler's the kind of guy that if I called him and said, I need you to do this, I'm sure he would do it. But I would wait until it's the right project and the right time.
Yeah.
Which isn't
I love
yet.
that.
Yeah. But yeah, he's great. I almost got to see him recently, but then we both got sick on the same day.
Oh,
No.
So we had to cancel the trip. But yeah, I'm just happy that he's doing really great. And I love that there's people out there that can see and appreciate his kindness, because he's always been such a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got extreme kindness.
Right. Well,
When we
that's
were
how
both
we met.
poor, I lived on his couch for 6 months.
That's, I mean, that's a story amongst artists, because income is intermittent and couch surfing is real, right?
Well, the funny thing is like, instead of going out and getting jobs, we would stay up all night laughing and telling stories and watching movies, and we were like best friends. And then I think, and then I moved out after 6 months, but it was an awesome 6 months on a couch.
Yeah.
I love that.
But no, that's how we met you at West Palm Beach at Rama Drama, because you were there with Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we, connected with you. We're so glad we did. But tell us, like, what else do you want to tell everybody about this film? What message do you want to?
Well, speaking of Rama Drama, at Rama Drama, I met my camera crew at Rama Drama.
Oh, really?
Who shot Ride or Die.
Okay, so who are they?
A guy named Hudson Bloom and Ryan Frazee. So they were there, and Hudson came up to me and he was like, what Hallmark movie were you in? Because a bunch of people were taking photos with me, and I was like, none. And he was like, why are people taking photos? And I was like, I don't know. This is my first time here. I'm new to this. And anyway, and then we followed each other. And when I was getting ready to film this, I reached out to him. Oh, no, I posted something, and Hudson said, if you need a camera guy. And then I checked out his stuff, and I called him, and I was like, I want you to film it. And then he was incredible and so fun to work with. And so when we wrapped, I was like, I want you to shoot my movie. And he's the one that just had the kid last week. So now I'm like, raise your kids so that you can come be in my movie.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah, but I met them.
It's really all about connecting with people, isn't it? Just.
Yeah, and he was going to be at I think there was going to be a Rama Drama or something in Georgia, and I was going to maybe go to that. But
we were going to be there too.
We were going to be there, yeah.
But But that's
Is there going to
when
be
the
another one in
hurricane.
the future? Or
I hope so.
We
I hope
would
so,
love
but
to.
I don't know. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was very unfortunate. Natural disasters,
Impacting, yeah.
impacting
yeah,
that.
that hurricane. When we wrapped Ride or Die, I couldn't come home because the hurricane was heading for my house. I was stuck in Texas for an extra, I think, week or two.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Um,
One of the things that we have gone back and forth about things we didn't do right in West Palm Beach.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
We live in two completely different states. We are never together. I'm like, we were in West Palm Beach and Joshua Shultz was there, and we could have talked to him about taking a photograph of us together because we do not have photos together. I'm like,
we got a really nice selfie with you because you're like, nope, turn this way.
yeah.
I forgot about that. I think my camera also was at the hotel room because when I went there, Tyler just invited me to come and hang out. He wasn't like, come do a photo shoot.
Yeah. Well, then you ended up having one because that
That's
night
right,
was
the
so
epic photo shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were having such a great moment that I was like, I have to make art, and
well, the sky was so beautiful that night too. Like, that you
yeah.
had all those photos. It was gorgeous.
Although the night before we were swimming in the water and it was like nighttime and we were having the best time and we were like playing music and we kept feeling this weird stinging thing, like feeling. And then I realized later the lightning was striking the ocean and then electrocuting us.
I thought you were going to say you got a jelly, like a jelly.
No, that's electricity.
Yeah. But we still had a great time, so
Good.
Wow.
that's all that matters.
And you walked out of the ocean. That's good too.
Yeah.
Speaking of being like lit up, what is it about creating these films that like lights you up inside?
I think I'm a storyteller, and since I was a little kid, movies really resonate with me, and photography is different. Like I've always seeked or looked at things through like beauty. Like when I meet someone new, I always try to find something I like about them because then I connect with them. But movies is different. Like telling a story through motion and acting and music is important to me. And I have such a personality that I can't turn it off. Like if I go on vacation, I'm always creating. I'm always thinking of ideas. If I see something beautiful, I want to take a picture of it. I want to make art. And actually, weirdly, recently, I was trying to think of like what makes me happy. And one thing that makes me really happy is getting things done. It sounds weird, but like if I have a bunch of tasks and I get all of them done, I feel really happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's one thing I like about filmmaking too. It's like you have a shot list, you get all these scenes, you capture all this incredible performance, and then you go in and you build this puzzle and you put music and color and sound design, and all of a sudden it's the story that makes you feel. And so I think I have a unhealthy or healthy drive to tell stories.
I love that drive. If you had zero financial restrictions, money was not a problem, you have a dream project.
I have 5 that are in development right now.
I love it.
I have one that I came up with an idea for a movie that I think is so incredible that I called a celebrity friend of mine and I pitched it to him and he was like, that's our Oscar movie. And then he called the company. Then they signed a book deal with me that they're turning it into a novel.
Nice.
Okay.
And we just signed a contract with an incredible movie writer last week who's writing it into a movie. So we signed a novelist who's writing it into a huge novel, and then a girl who's writing it into a movie. I already have the male lead attached. We're reaching out to some big female leads. It's a romantic movie, but it's a crazy story. And I also wrote a Western that takes place in the 1890s about a strong woman who lived back then. That's also a crazy, amazing story.
You know, I
And
could totally see you doing a film like that. Like it feels like your style.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I like beauty, but I also like a lot of grit. You
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
But this one is like, it's about a woman who husband gets murdered in the beginning by a serial killer before they knew what serial killers were. So it's an incredible story of her. She really carries the whole movie, and it's called The Wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have a sci-fi TV show. So I have like different people that I'm talking to about different projects, and so it's funny because there was a girl that was competing with me to direct, but her dad's a billionaire, so she's like already in her second movie because he just gave her $55 million.
Yep.
So if I had that, I would be making all of these projects.
Right.
But that's why I think the fans and people like you are so important, because if everybody joins together as a family and they contribute energy to make the film, and then you have people come in who work way overtime to pull it off, and we're still getting to tell stories. And but yeah, my next dream project would be this book one I'm doing, because it's like, even how I want to film it is so specific, and the music is specific, and it takes place in LA, and then it takes place on a ranch, and I even like the book people sent over a treatment for the outline, and I cried when I read it. It was so
Love that.
emotional. So I think this is the one I want to do, either this or the Western. But it's something that I feel like would make millions of people around the world rethink their priorities in life. So hopefully we do that next.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
I
Wow.
know. Very amazing. Would you play a little game with us?
Sure.
Okay. We probably play, well, I don't know if we were playing this game back then, but it's a favorites game. So what is your favorite movie of all time?
You can give a couple.
Or first one that pops in your mind, something that you love. Yeah. A lot of pressure.
One movie I really love is True Romance. I also love, some of these are gonna not be as known,
Right.
but I really like Deepwater Horizon.
Oh, yeah.
13 Hours.
Yep.
Which is a Michael Bay movie.
Yep.
And then there's like, some classics, Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
Where
they actually had to have all the people there. There's no computer generated people.
Oh yeah, that's an epic.
Right.
E.T.
Oh,
yeah.
War of the Worlds. Really, really love that. Speaking of Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. Show me the money.
Exactly. I also think like the 90s were such an incredible time for movie making. They really took risks back then,
Yep.
Like Quentin Tarantino did a lot of stuff. Ironically, the only set I've ever been on where I got to like watch a director was Robert Rodriguez. I produced a short film for him, so I got to like work with him and watch him direct, and then I got to direct some scenes. And then right before I directed Americana, he sent me a huge, like 2-page text of advice. And so I like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Desperado, which he did with Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like some of that older like movies that were fun. And then this is gonna sound really nerdy, but movies in the 90s, there was a score to them, like Forrest Gump. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just this very distinct 90s score that they would do that I still listen to. I think between the 90s music and like Sergio Leone, like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
The music was so great, and I think there's a lot of magic being lost in movies today, where they're shooting digital and flat and rushing through the music, and they're doing like a lot of, this is what you're supposed to do here because of formulas and surveys. Where back in the day, it was like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly was a soap opera almost. It was like
Right.
a huge opera, very dramatic and crazy. And like there'd be a scene where Clint Eastwood would just be riding in the desert, which could be a boring scene, but because of that music,
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone's music was so epic. You just felt so much. But I also go through phases of movies I like.
Yeah.
Like I really like this movie called The Florida Project, which the director of that just won at the Oscars. He won 4 Oscars. And I chatted with him a little bit on Instagram. He gave me some advice about filming, and so yeah, that's my very long-winded answer to that.
Yeah, no, I love a long-winded answer. That's great.
It's funny. People either have like one movie, like this is it, this is my favorite movie of all time, or there's just so many they can't, they
Yeah.
can't pick.
Right, right. Do you have a favorite like TV series or something you're currently binging, watching?
A couple of TV shows I really love. So
Yeah.
first one I really love is Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Beth Dutton is one of my favorite characters ever.
Oh yeah, I'm lucky that I have a few friends on that show, and my friend does all the music for it. So like that theme when it starts, his name is Brian Tyler. I really love The Terminal List.
Mhm.
I watched that 3 times. I just finished for the 3rd time Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a new TV show now because I just finished Better Call Saul, and I'm sad. Although I just booked my first full movie music documentary, so I've been searching out music documentaries to watch. But I need a good show. I just started watching Reacher, but
Oh, right. I've been hearing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that they just do like an episode a week. Like I'm so used to binge watching now
Right.
that I hate
You
waiting.
need to be able to sit and decompress.
More places are starting to do one a week again, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah, you can't get us used to
70s.
binging and then take it away from us. But I'll watch any genre as long as it's well made. Like
Yeah.
Right.
I really appreciate people that put in the extra work, because like sometimes I'll watch a $200 million movie and the editing's bad and the color's bad and the sound design's bad, and I'm like, it throws
What'd you
me
spend
out.
200 million on?
Yeah, I'm like, where did the 200 million go?
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm searching for a good TV show and good movies. That's the problem with me, is I watch so many movies, so I get to a point where I have to just rewatch ones I know that are good.
Right.
I just watched Nosferatu, which was good. I watched Baby Girl, which was terrible. And then I watched Companion, which is like a horror film about a girl who's an AI robot and she doesn't know it, but it was actually really
He
fun.
doesn't know it.
Yeah. Then she finds out she's a robot. Trying to think what else I watched. Right now I'm watching, probably really dumb, but because I haven't found another TV show, I've been watching Reno 911 because it's just funny.
Yeah. I mean,
Everybody needs like a good brainless thing.
everyone needs something you can like plop down on the sofa and just turn on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
well, what are you doing? What's your hobby when you're, not writing, directing, acting, producing,
Right
taking
now,
pictures?
I'm editing a photo shoot for a band and editing a music video and writing the movie and working out for my movie premiere. I guess my hobby is I like to go on long walks with my dog.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful where I'm at in Florida. So when like the sun comes out, I'll put on a good podcast and we'll go
Yeah.
for like a 3-mile walk. That's why she was barking in the other room, because she's like, "You haven't walked me in like an hour. Where are you?"
What is taking so long? So what podcast are you listening to?
Today I was listening to the Directors Guild, so they
Mm-hmm.
will have the directors come on and talk about their movie and behind the scenes. And then I've
Mm-hmm.
been listening to this script writing podcast. They break down structure and they
Yeah.
interview different people, and it's good. But I have to balance. Sometimes if you're getting too much theory and you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing enough practical, it can mess you up. So then other times I'll just listen to like comedy podcasts that are just really stupid.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's
But
a number one comedy podcast in the world is called Kill Tony,
yep.
and the drummer of the show was in my short film Ride or
No,
Die.
fun.
Okay.
So I started listening to it after that, and he invited me to go watch it when I was in Austin. And I like crude, dumb humor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, also in search of I listen to a lot of health podcasts because of what
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
went through,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
um, and workout stuff because I need to get in better shape for this movie. So I'm learning all about that.
Right.
Anyway,
Always learning, I think, even
Right.
when, yeah.
yeah.
So, music. What are you listening to right now? Or do you have a few favorite band or favorite singer, favorite song?
So I have like two different types of music to listen to, or I guess three. When I go to the gym, I listen to like 90s rock and grunge music and early 2000s because the uh, beats help me get in the mood to work out.
So, who do you like out of that group?
Oh, but Metallica, White Zombie,
Yeah.
Nirvana,
Yeah.
Soundgarden. But when I'm like walking,
Mm-hmm.
I'll either listen to like 60s and 70s. Like I've been listening to a lot of Creedence Clearwater
Yeah.
Revival.
Yeah.
CCR.
Yeah, Elton John, Bob Dylan, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Um,
You have a favorite song out of that genre?
uh, I wouldn't know the songs. Creedence has the "Bad Mood on the Rising" song. What is it? I don't know what it's called. And then Fleetwood, I think, "Dreams."
Yeah.
And then I've recently, this sounds weird, but I've been really getting into like 1950s romance music
Yeah.
Okay. I
because
love
it's
that.
like very relaxing.
Yeah.
So like if I need to write or edit or I'm outside and it's beautiful, I just put on old 50s music and
Yeah.
it's very movie like. Um, or I listen to music scores like
Mm-hmm.
Forrest Gump. Um, I've been listening to like Dances with Wolves.
Mm,
The scores, the music scores are incredible.
yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
the most incredible music has come out of scoring movies.
Well, I used to run an orchestra in LA, the California Philharmonic. So we would have these big shows at Walt Disney Concert Hall, and we would have composers of movies come in. So, like the guy who scored Thor came in, and we had the full orchestra, a 200-person choir, and we would do it live. But it really was a great education for me as a director to understand like why classical music is powerful and why it can be timeless. Like you can still feel something hundreds of years later.
Right.
And as a director now, I realize that my job is manipulation, and so I can manipulate the audience with what kind of music. So it's
Mhm.
for me, it's fun to listen to music from movies and feel the emotions that it's trying to get me to feel.
Right. That's a score can lift you up, carry you along, or bring you down.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is funny because my next film is a horror film, but it's a
Right.
found footage film. So technically, there's no score,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still bringing my composer in who's going to design all of these weird sounds that'll be
Okay.
score like so that we can still manipulate the audience, which I don't know if they've ever done that before. So maybe we'll be the first.
Hey.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, this has been fun, Josh. Thank you for coming on and sharing about Ride or Die. And we're always happy to support your projects. So keep us posted.
Yeah, we look
thank you so
forward.
much.
We look forward to everything you're bringing out, including a future feature film.
Yes.
And yes, hopefully we'll get to talk about that in the future.
Yeah.
Would love to. Tell everybody where to follow you on social media if they want to keep up with, all your projects coming out.
So the best way is if you follow me on Instagram at Joshua Shultz.
Okay.
No C in my last name, so SHULTZ. Or my website, joshuaschultz.com. Yeah, Instagram is kind of where I am the most up to date on everything.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you again, Josh, for being here with us. And thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.